the debate? What are you talking about? What do you mean? I haven't heard anything about this. God, I hope not. I could go without another president's debate for a long time. We are so cooked. We are. Stick a fork in us, folks. Well, I guess that means we're done, but yeah. Matt Gaetz. You guys see Matt Gaetz is going to be, what was it, Secretary of, Attorney General. Attorney General Matt Gaetz. Well, that is quite blue. It is, yeah. Oh, I'm doing all right, man. You know, Matt Gaetz, I know. Yeah, that's, it is going to be one hell of another 4 years, man. Like, it hasn't even started yet. That's the thing, too, that all this stuff with Donald Trump, it hasn't even started. This nomination process that we're going through now, I don't think we're quite ready for how unglued Donald Trump is going to be here. No, they just truly threw it down. I'm not sure what you mean by that. It's going to be a rough 4 years. I don't know. The only Tulsi Gabbard, Tulsi Gabbard as Department of National Intelligence, I think. Thoughts on Kristi Noem getting home? I know, right? You can't even keep up. On our show, our YouTube show, The Left Wing, we planned on doing something about, well, I planned on, at least I haven't told John yet, about Mike Huckabee being named as, I think it was the ambassador to Israel, with all the crazy stuff he said. But man, we're probably going to get to him with all the weird shit. Republicans voted on promise of the president running for a lame duck term. Well, I mean, that's not uncommon, but Trump's promises were insane anyway. That's the thing that, I know we say it all the time, but the folks who voted for Trump, the lion's share of them don't pay attention to politics anyway. God bless the Amish. Oh yeah, the Amish came through for Trump, man. Troy has already got 2 hard no's. I know what that means. Promised the moon. I mean, really? He promised them mass deportation. That's the thing that Trump... One unsettling thing I learned about this presidential cycle is how popular mass deportation is. That was pretty unsettling. He basically lied on his resume and got the job. Did he, though? Gaetz says 2 votes. Oh, 2 no votes. Oh, I see what you're saying. Oh, yeah. From the Senate? He has 2 no votes? I didn't hear about that. Well, I mean, I assume you mean Republicans. As far as empty promises go. Right, yeah. We can only dream that Donald Trump's promises are empty. Why do Republicans rely on hypocrisy? Republicans rely more on misinformation and lack of education than hypocrisy. Hypocrisy is a close second, but misinformation is definitely up there. Other freaking media doing it again. Rely on missing. How can they pick? I work in an office and it's weird how cheerful everybody. Oh, that's suspicious, man. That's suspicious. Anybody rocking around a really good mood last week? You're on my radar. Obedience, yes. Republicans love. That's the difference between the right and the left. Is that the left likes to idealize disaggregation of power, and the right likes consolidation of power. You'll see this a lot with right-wingers appeal to hierarchical structures and authorities. It's why they like religion so much, because religion doesn't really rely on professed morality. It relies on obedience to authority. The better you can take orders, the better you are at most religions, certainly the common Abrahamic ones. So that's why it fits so well with a lot of Republicans. Oh, I've got like a Z or something. Like I'm 15. Misinfo and otherwise, yep. Placing Gaetz as Attorney General is like Carson, Department of Health. Yeah, remember that? They put Ben Carson for like housing and urban development. I think Trump was like, oh, he's a black guy, so he'll do housing and urban development. That's how far I think it went. Death mention. I like it when people, usually when I title the lives to the extent that I do them, thank you, Alex. I appreciate it. You're always here for me, man. Appreciate it. I title the lives after songs. And if it's an obscure song like Politicians in My Eyes, I always like when people notice that. Thanks, amusement. What if Donald Trump isn't real and we've all been hallucinating for 9 years? Listen, never crack. I remember you. I've long said that I think that we've actually been in hell since 2016, or at least I have. Maybe this is just a giant punishment for the sins of my past. I don't know. At least I with Donald Trump. Yep, someone else recognized the death song. Appreciate it, folks. Gates' attorney general's like Grinch in charge of Christmas. I mean, the Grinch actually got it taken care of, so his heart grew 3 sizes that day, remember? So who knows? Maybe he'll get it right. TJ, no offense, but on YouTube, the Pips are dragging you down. We want Gladys Knight. Yo, how dare you? How dare you insult the fine co-hosts and guests on the left wing? Hey, you know, doing something by yourself is really hard. Like doing this is almost impossible. I'm live on YouTube right now as well, but on YouTube the following's a lot smaller, and so the comment section doesn't go rolling in like it does here, so I can talk. But just looking at a camera and just speaking extemporaneously with no audience, no physical audience or no virtual audience, very difficult. I've been planning to make YouTube videos for a long time, but it's really hard. And I don't want to write out a script and read it or memorize it. That seems kind of boring. So been about a year. I've been planning on doing long form YouTube videos. I'll get to it eventually. But RFK in charge of health. That's a wild one. Did you guys read about RFK and how he got a bunch of people killed in American Samoa? You hear about that? There was if I remember the story correctly, there were some vaccines that were, I think, expired or something, and they were inadvertently administered to some people. So RFK and his goons spread all this wild misinformation about how vaccines are bad for you, and like 38 people died of measles or something. It was RFK shouldn't be anywhere near. Also, it's very interesting to me that Republicans now are all on this big kick of, man, we really got to rein in these food companies. They're feeding us poison. They're poisoning our kids. Michelle Obama, if you guys are old enough to remember this, Michelle Obama had this like program she was promoting. It's like, hey, we need to make sure the kids in school are fed better. And of course, Republicans lost their mind. This is communism. This is tyranny. How dare she try to control what our children eat? It's a principle-free party or a movement, conservatives, not just Republicans. Is it true Boebert is head of Department of Education? I haven't heard that. That can't be right. That'd be too funny. That's too funny even for this universe. That's too funny. Come on. There's no way Lauren Boebert's going to be head of Department of Education because he's getting rid of the Department of Education. Are protests at all useful? Somewhat. They can be. Protests are. I gotta be careful what I say. Never mind, I'm not gonna say it. I was talking about my feelings on nonviolent protests, but all right, fuck it, I'll say it. You know how when it comes to specifically Americans, just talk about American culture, and people in the United States who are not white, straight Christian men, and the people that are revered historically in these communities, you ever notice how a lot of them are nonviolent protesters, like Martin Luther King or Susan B. Anthony, or at least they're pitched as nonviolent protesters. You don't really see that a lot for white, straight Christian men. When it comes to that group in particular, their heroes are always fighters. They're generals. They're warriors. They pick up a weapon and stand a post. If you're black, you pick up a sign and stand in a field. That's you know your place. It's very interesting. Like Gandhi would be another example, although he wasn't an American. But if you try to think of how many like Martin Luther King level historical figures you could think of who are white, straight Christian men who are known for their peaceful protests, it's a pretty short list. That's whatever happened to Ben Carson and Tim Scott. Ben Carson, I don't know. He was like my wild card pick for VP. It was never going to happen, but I thought it was fun. I didn't expect him to go anywhere this time. He's just, I don't know. He hasn't been in politics except for that one time with Trump, and he's kind of old. Tim Scott, though, left out there. Just left sitting out there with his new wife. We'll see what happens. Goddamn, I'm way behind in the comments here. Sorry about that, folks. He picked Matt. Yeah, a lot of Matt Gaetz comments. Elon Musk is doing exactly what yes, this is true. Elon Musk is right-wing George Soros. Worse, though, George Soros never had control of his own social media organization. You know, George Soros, not even close, not even close. Yeah, 9 years of hell. It's true. We've been suffering in Hades for nearly a decade. At least I have. I can't prove you guys are real, but that's how I feel about it. What do you think of him trying to? Oh, my gay stuff. World really ended in 2012. We're living. Yeah, I don't know. I go to 2016, but why not 2012? Right? The Mayans were right after all. In fact, I don't think the Mayans actually predicted the world was ending in 2012. I think that's just when the latest calendar ended. So people kind of ran with that. I theorized the world did it in 2012. Yeah. The coming brain drain is going to exacerbate all our issues. Yeah, I know. RFK is a total train wreck. RFK has a brain worm. RFK has a brain worm, and no one talks about it. I think that's very strange. Like, if a worm ate part of your brain, that should be up for conversation if you're anywhere near the levers of power. That just seems like something that should be talked about. Although he is doing a great job continuing the Kennedy family tradition of having a hole in your head. So good on him for that. RFK is the most healthy person. Michelle Obama, say it was Michelle Obama. They won't let RFK in charge of anything. That would be fun. That's probably true. I mean, he doesn't owe him anything now. What can RFK do for Donald Trump now anyway? But at the same time, they want to get rid of all regulation. Right. This is something that I would use on the hippie Republicans I knew. Not hippies, but the ones who are all the health food folks and talking about how there's all this poison in the food and there's sugar everywhere. And I was like, okay, so you want the government to do something about this or not? You just want to complain about it? Why is this a political issue for you? And then they get kind of hung up. So, well, we don't want government regulations. We just want to point to them as they're destroying our food supply. It's like, yeah, that's what we're doing. But I don't know. It's another one of those things that it's like you guys saw that that chart that came out that showed Harris's policies and how it had like 80% approval from the populace, and Trump's policies had something like 20% or 10% approval from the populace. But Harris and Trump, different levels of support. People don't vote on policy. They never have. Like the best candidate who could ever exist would be someone who ran as a Republican with Democratic policies. Thank you, Alex, for the rose and all that. Because that person would win, and that person would be swept away. You know, if it was a Republican who could find some way to not be racist and back all that stuff that Republicans say they support, runaway victory, runaway every single time. I can't believe Boebert got reelected. Yeah, I thought we had gotten rid of Boebert when she got chased out of her district, but unfortunately, she ran to another one and it worked. If this election cycle has taught me anything with Lauren Boebert, Elon Musk, and Donald Trump, the bad guys win a lot. Crime really does pay. It does. Hi, Wolfie. It's just, it's rough. No, guys, you're joking. Lauren Boebert was, hold on. I'm going to look this up here. There's no way Lauren Boebert was put as Department of Education. I don't believe that for a second. You guys are effing with me. All right, I don't see anything about Lauren Boebert in Department of Education. You guys fell for a meme or something. Protests are useful when it costs the person money, like bus company in Montgomery. So yeah, Alex, I was thinking about it too. Whenever I talk about boycotts, I think most boycotts are useless. Well, not useless is the wrong word. Ineffective. Not effective if the goal is actually making a company change its decision because you're not buying their product. That's difficult to do because it has to be sustained. The Montgomery bus boycott's a good example. The Montgomery bus boycott lasted a year and a half. It was a year and a half that they didn't ride those buses, and that's when they changed their mind. Oh, sorry, this guy starts yelling whenever I do video calls. I heard Casey Anthony had the Department of Child Services. That's good. Unless they are dumping tea in the harbor. Yeah, they love that protest, right? That doesn't count. That was a good one. Folks, I'm going to skip like 40 comments here. I'm sorry. I'm too way behind. I have no words. Colorado Blue. We live in a two-party system. Think of it like a slow bus ride versus stage 4 cancer. I'm petting on Wolfie. All right. Wolfie has strong opinions on nonviolent protests. He's against it. Right. Wolfie is a comrade of the highest order. Wolfie is all about direct action. Thoughts on Newsom 2028? Listen, my immediate thought is that Gavin Newsom is inevitable. I hate that he is, but that's probably what they're going to go with. The cat thinks you're talking to yourself and is just worried. Yeah, Wolfie is concerned about my mental health, aren't you, buddy? Aren't you? I think the Dems lost because they didn't do a good enough job communicating the economy. Yeah, I don't know if there's a scenario in which Harris could have won. I thought Harris did a decent job for what she was given. A 90-day presidential campaign is pretty tall order. She did a good job, I would say. I'd give her like a B+ on it, maybe an A-. She did a decent job. A lot of stuff I wouldn't have done, campaigning with Liz Cheney, bragging about Dick Cheney, being not saying anything for a month. You guys remember that? She was nominated, or she was kind of chosen by Biden and didn't talk to in the news for a month. That was a bad idea. Funny thing was that was her best month. That is kind of funny, but so maybe it was a good idea for her. But yeah, I think that just this is a referendum on Biden, and the people didn't like Biden, so Harris lost. I think that the Democrats definitely could have done a better job communicating the economy. They could have, spoke like normal people is what I say all the time. Like the one thing that Trump has figured out that very few other politicians have is that sounding like you're a politician from 1996 or 2006, it's out, it's gone. Those days are gone. You need to speak like we're speaking right now, like regular people. And that appeals to folks. Speaking all stilted and robotic and everything is not gonna fly anymore. Or at least you're gonna get crushed by someone who can do that. Thoughts on Russian asset tolls? Yeah, I know. Why not, right? Not a surprise. I'm from California. Please, no more Newsom. Man, I got a fever. The only cure is more Newsom. No, I'm not like a big Gavin. I've never honestly cared much for Gavin Newsom. Even way back in the day, like, 2012 or 2010, whenever he was governor of San Francisco, I only knew him because Fox News would have him on TV all the time. And I always got a slimy vibe from him. He always had like a used car sales, like more than most politicians. I never really liked Newsom, but he's your stereotypical powerful Democrat. I'm glad you voted for democracy. God bless the Constitution. How much is the efficiency department going to cost? It's not going to be a department. It's going to be two rich guys trying to siphon away government money and offer recommendations on stealing money from where it actually belongs. Anywhere but their pockets is that where that's going to be. No love for your man. Nate Daniels. Wow. How about that? I don't know if Nate is still on. How you doing, man? Jon Stewart 2028. I've said Jon Stewart should run for president honestly, since Trump was elected. I thought that he was the best case. Stewart might be a little old in 4 years. I think his window is rapidly closing, but I'd put him up there against any other Democrat, honestly. Sorry, I didn't mean to tag misdemeanor. No, that is. Wolfie, what do you want? We absolutely should have had a primary. Straight up did not know it was possible to not have one. You know what? Lily Carp, not having a primary was, I guess there was usually a primary, but our concept of a primary is fairly new, where they go to all 50 states and all the territories, or most of the territories, and have them vote on who should be the major party's nominee. In the past, like before the 70s, there were primaries in some states, but honestly, the parties would just pick random states. Well, not random, but they would have states where they held primaries. But who the party picks to be their nominee is not up to them. But they don't have to listen to the primary if they don't want to. They can do all the primaries and say, no, we don't like that candidate, and then handpick their own. It's a private organization. It's not a government one, so they're perfectly in rights to do that. Yeah. It would have been difficult to have a primary with Biden dropping out 3 months before the election. How do you do a 50-state primary in 90 days and have time for someone to campaign? You could have everyone vote on the same day, but it would be a farce primary anyway. So I don't know. If they had the primary and that candidate lost, they would have said, well, we should have handpicked someone. Then maybe they would have won. I don't think there was any scenario that it would have been a lot better. We are never going to get a black woman as president. Racism, misogyny is king. I disagree. I don't like the electorate is just too racist. That's why Kamala Harris lost. Look, I don't know. Maybe that's the case. But when you say that, when you say, well, it was just racism why she's lost. All right. So therefore what? That's my question. Therefore what? Because what I'm taking from this is that we should never nominate a black woman or never nominate a woman again. I don't think that's the right lesson to learn from this. I just don't. I remember when Obama got elected in 2008. I remember a lot of people saying, wow, man, I never thought I would see a black president. And I'd be like, man, you were 24. What are you talking about? You never thought you'd see it's not like you're 68. Like you're like 24. You're not even 30 yet. And you thought I thought we'd see one. I guess I was it was a big moment, but I don't buy into the nation's just too racist, the nation's just too sexist. Now that doesn't mean sexism didn't play a part. Obviously it did. But a lot of districts that voted for Ilhan Omar or Rashida Tlaib or AOC, those districts won. They won in those districts. And those people voted for them and not Harris. So I think it's a little too simple to just say that it comes down to sexism. I mean, sexism did play a part, but you say there's no universe in which Harris, well, maybe not Harris, but someone could have won as a woman. I just don't buy that. Also, last thing I'll say on this, if you just say, well, I guess the voters are too racist, the voters are too stupid, it conveniently doesn't require any work from you. It doesn't. Like, well, I did everything right and I still lost. I'm gonna do the exact same thing next time and hopefully it'll work. I don't think that, let's say it's true, it doesn't solve any problems, right? Unless the solution is don't nominate a woman again. Incumbents around the world have been losing. Yep, true. Sorry for the comments I'm missing, folks. I'm trying. Stewart would be 67, 4 years younger than Biden and Trump. Well, I mean, that's not... 67 is still a little old. It's not horrible, though. I guess people are living longer. Why did you spend the time in the campaign? Oh, my God. This guy, again. I did a video on this guy. Yeah. So... I don't know if he's still on or not, but he's under the impression that constructive criticisms, like, hey, maybe this is a bad idea. Doing this might cost you the election while someone's campaigning means I want the campaign to lose. Like, I guess I should just, get on my knees and service them. Our primary process is younger than most people. True. Very true. Democracy without a primary is why you lost. Total hypocrisy. Well, the parties are not democratic. They never were. Are you stoked Trump won so you can continue to have an audience? This is hilarious. Why? What do? They don't do a good job protect. I don't know what that means. Hey, will you get rid of the Department of Education? Do you think so? Yeah, get rid of the Department of Education. He'll need congressional approval. I don't know if he'll get it done or not. This has been what the Republicans want to do for a long time. The Department of Education doesn't set. Well, I mean, the Department of Education mainly provides funds for education for schools around the country. That's like what it really, but for the Department of Education, like it's going to be hard. They can withhold money if, like, say your school doesn't allow handicap access to disabled students or whatever. But we'll see. I don't know. That's kind of a big one, but I think that goes back to Biden delaying stepping out. We wouldn't have had the time. Yeah. Exactly. That's what happened to Bernie when he won the primary and Dem said, no, Bernie did not win the primary. No, folks, don't go down this. Don't do this. We're better than this. Bernie lost the primary. He lost the superdelegates. He lost the convention, the regular delegates. He did not have more. I don't think he was ever leading, actually. The Bernie was screwed narrative is true enough in that the Democratic leadership did not want Bernie Sanders to win. They would do things like schedule the debates between Sanders and Clinton during football games, stuff like that, or reporting the superdelegate count instead of just the regular delegate count to make it look like Clinton was winning by more than she was. But she was always winning. I think that they kind of tipped the scales in their favor a bit, but Sanders lost. And when the candidate loses, it's the candidate's fault, even when the candidate is Bernie. What happened to civil rights in America? We'll see. You can't scream democracy with no primary. Primaries have nothing to do with democracy. Oh, yeah, okay. All right, so that we need to stop saying that. Is it possible there will be no election? No, there's going to be elections. There's going to be elections. It sounds defeatist. It's probably talking about the racism thing. Let's see. You spent the whole time letting your followers say both sides are the same. That's why we lost. Yes, according to this dude, me letting my followers like I can control what followers say or anything because I'm God apparently. I'm the reason Kamala Harris lost. Let's see. I think biases were against her. Listen, sure, yeah. I listen. I'm not in any way saying there wasn't any bias against Kamala Harris. I'm not going to say that at all. I'm saying that just resorting to, well, we don't need to look at what we did and learn any lessons so we can win next time is not a smart move. Instead of just saying, well, it's the bigotry. We just lost to the bigotry because it doesn't solve any problems. That's all I'm saying. Like, are we interested in complaining or are we interested in winning? Because if it's just complaining, all right, go for it, but it doesn't get anything done. Shirley Chisholm, blue. Is the name of the stream a reference to a death song? It is. Mandy, you are the third person to catch that. I will send you a certificate to a steak dinner at the restaurant, the dining establishment of your choosing. Let's see. We'd be here. Hold on. We'd still be here talking about our country. I know what that means. Both sides are not the same. Of course, they're not the same. Maybe find somebody qualified and likable. Qualified. Well, listen. The qualified thing. Harris is qualified. Listen. Qualification. This is another thing that the liberals say. Well, she was the most qualified candidate ever. All right. That doesn't mean anything. Qualification doesn't mean anything. It never has. I'll tell you who's qualified to be president. Someone who's at least 35 years old and a natural born citizen of the United States of America. That's pretty much it. Those are the qualifications to be president. If qualification was the primary deciding factor on who became president, incumbents would never lose. Vice presidents would never lose. Those are the people most qualified for the job, right? So it's just, yeah, it's the election, president, all elections, honestly, are mostly going to be based on vibes. I hate to say it, but it is. When people joke that elections are just popularity contests, they're right. They are. It's and you can tell this by the voters and what they say. You ask them about policy, they have no idea. They have no idea what they're talking about. The vast majority of the time, it's people who they relate to, people who they connect to, people who they trust. I can't tell you how many times I've had conversations with conservatives over the years. I tell them all about my left-wing policies, all the stuff I want, stuff that they disagree with. Time and time again, I hear them say, you know what, TJ, I don't really agree a lot with what you say, but if you ran for office, I would vote for you. I think I would. And I say, why? That doesn't make any sense. I'm against everything you stand for. Like, I don't know. I like how you think. I think you're a genuine guy. That is how a lot of people vote. That the issues are secondary to their personal view of the human being. And Democrats could learn a lot about that. And that's why being personable and being genuine would work instead of being scripted and pedantic. I mean, that is the lesson. Man, sure. Black man, absolutely. Black woman, not happening. But all right. That's what I'm saying. So attorney, but not yours. That's what I'm saying. Say that then. If that's your conclusion, I respect your, I mean, I see that is your opinion and everything, but just say it. Just say, hey, we shouldn't nominate a woman again. Because people alluding to it without actually saying it, I find to be rather cowardly. But if that's yours, I wonder how elections. Tree Stop says, which boils down to bigotry, and you're probably talking to them like they aren't dumb and they understand their own lives. Well, Tree Stop, I don't know. I do talk to them like they're dumb. I do, but they're not bright enough to catch it. But I see what you're saying. If I think that being condescending, being snarky can kind of work as long as you do it the way I do it, where it's funny and it's personable. Shit. Be more like me. That's all I want politicians to do. I wonder how elections going forward can be fair. Such a great point. Democrats need to study the 2008 Obama campaign. Studying the 2008 Obama campaign will only get you so far, though, because that'll work if you're Barack Obama, right? If Chuck Schumer tried the 2008 Obama campaign, he would lose because he's not Barack Obama. You need a particular type of person. Well, you don't need that person, but it's helpful, especially when you're going up against someone like Donald Trump. Like Bernie Sanders wouldn't campaign like Barack Obama, but he would have an Obama-style effect, I think. I don't believe voters are dumb, but to ignore white supremacy is a mistake. All right, fine. All right, talk to you about yours. I do kind of think the voters are dumb. But, so, in my state, our abortion ban was overturned, but Republicans won down the line. Yeah, that's exactly. That's a great point by Aaliyah there, is that this happens time and time again where, thanks, Oklahoma, you will see people voting for progressive causes. Like Missouri voted for a minimum wage hike. I don't remember if it was $15 or what, but Missouri voted for increasing minimum wage. Republicans are always against that. Republicans won everywhere in Missouri. But when it comes to left-wing measures, the people support it. Trump repeals 25th Amendment and Obama beats him in 2028. Yeah. Jerome says, could you turn down the cute? It's difficult to hear. Oh, God. I appreciate the compliment, Jerome. Let's see. Festus is happy that Trump won. Are you from? Wait a minute. Festus, is that like a location? There's a Festus, Missouri. Is that a person? Think need to focus on Dems who didn't show up. It was a fourth of MAGA. Yeah, people who didn't show up is the big thing, but those aren't necessarily Democrats. Isn't necessarily Democrats. Go into your comment section. Takes 2 seconds to see both sides of the same comments. All right, well, I don't agree with that. I don't know what you want. Festus was on Gunsmoke. Oh, I don't know. I never watched Gunsmoke. My mom, my auntie watched Gunsmoke. They watched some other Big Valley and Gunsmoke were the two like old 60s and 70s westerns they watched. I didn't really watch those. My parents my mom and my auntie, they love old western movies. I hated them. All except one called The Sons of Katie Elder, which was a John Wayne movie. I love that film. And I watched it was about bore you guys with the story here, but I remember watching The Sons of Katie Elder and thinking, you know what? I want to remake this movie in modern times. And my idea was to make the four people, instead of 4 cowboy brothers coming into town, that they were 4 black guys and they were, brothers coming back to the city. And then Mark Wahlberg essentially did that movie. He remade The Sons of Katie Elder, stole that idea from me. You owe me money, Mark Wahlberg, pay up. Tree Stop says Gunsmoke is so good. Tree Stop, how old are you? We didn't have a constitution right to tell private parties what to do. You're right. Yeah. That's true. Famously, the founding fathers didn't want, when they drafted the Constitution and everything, they didn't do it with political parties in mind. People always talk about how George Washington's farewell speech said, make sure you beware of political parties. Political parties will tear this nation apart, like Washington was some sort of forward-thinking genius. That's what everybody thought. They all thought that in the beginning. But the second this whole process started, political parties formed immediately. And Washington had no political party affiliation, but he disagreed with everything the Federalists did. Washington was the first enlightened centrist. Like, oh, I listen to both sides. I just happen to follow all the precepts of one side. And political parties aren't going anywhere for a lot of reasons. Folks oftentimes will say, we need to get rid of political parties. And it's like baby's first political take. It's absurd. Tree Stop is 25. Your great-grandfather put you onto the show as a kid. Oh, good stuff. I never watched it, but I've heard good reviews. We're really living in the worst timeline. Very true. A rich celebrity conned America. Yeah, Donald Trump. I have said for a long time that Donald Trump is the most successful con man in history. But with the exploits of Elon Musk, it's kind of hard to keep that title with Trump. I think because Elon Musk is doing more with less. Donald Trump at least has charisma. Donald Trump can read a crowd. Donald Trump is funny. He's quick on his feet. Elon Musk has none of that. Elon Musk has no charisma at all. And he's essentially the co-president of the United States. So the bad guys win. Dems didn't show up. That's why they lost, but they didn't flip. So, I mean, Dems didn't show up. Are you like those people? If you talk to those people who didn't show up, would they say, oh, yeah, I'm a diehard Democrat? There are probably people who may have voted Democrat, but I think it was just your regular population that didn't show up more than the Democrats, It was his fault. He pulled a Beto before Beto did it. I know who that's in reference to. I hope Bernie finally starts Progressive Party as a third party. I don't know if that's a good idea. I think that starting a new party is just going to split any factions, the remainder of the faction that exists for the Democrats. I know that transforming the Democratic Party, a lot of folks think it's a waste of time, but I think forming a third party is not helpful either. I'm finding myself aligning with the left for left ideals. Outside of you, are there any great people you would recommend to watch? All right, South Star. First off, Flattery will get you everywhere. There's a lot of good people on the left. I mean, honestly, there's the big ones are going to be like Hassan Piker, Destiny, Vosh. Who else is out there? Kyle Kalinske. I recommend Kyle Kalinske a lot. Now, saying that I recommend these folks isn't a full endorsement of everything they say. Obviously, people have a hard time with critical thinking. So if I say, hey, this is a person who you can listen to for left ideas. Oh, so you agree with all their points? No, there's only one person whose points I agree with. That's me. But for intros to the left, they're really good. Is centrism really a thing anymore? Isn't the bro vote just outwardly right wing? Yeah. Centrism has never been a thing. Yeah. Tom Hartman. Yes, Tom Hartman. Very good. Centrism is not a thing. I thought this for a long time, honestly. Now, being a median American voter is a thing. And I always say that the best example of the median American voter is going to be Joe Rogan. It's Joe Rogan. And because we think of Joe Rogan as this far right lunatic conspiracy theorist who believes absurd things, has no congruent ideology. Yes, that's the median American voter. That's who they are. Joe Rogan said that Bernie Sanders was great. He also said Trump was great. And that's your median American voter can be swayed on vibes alone. And yeah, just got to recognize that reality. I align with anyone who doesn't threaten to put me in a camp. I'm kind of selfish that way. I know, right? The temerity of you, Jerome. In 2020, all the centrist types dropped out and supported Biden. Do you think they regret that? I made a video making a joke about this, that this is all Barack Obama's fault because Obama made fun of Trump in 2015 or whatever, and then Trump decided to run for president. After that, now I think Biden would have beat Trump in 2016. I do. And he's like, no, Biden, we're not going with you. The party's going to back Hillary Clinton. And then Hillary Clinton lost. Then when it came time for Sanders to rise to power again, and it was down between Bernie and Biden, Buttigieg, and Klobuchar, Obama made the phone call and said, all right, need you two to drop out. We're coalescing behind Biden. Biden wins, but then he runs again and loses. And then Obama says, all right, Joe, you're too old. You got to drop out. And then Kamala loses. So Barack Obama is kind of like Michael Jordan, kind of like a star athlete who just crushes it on the court, then goes into management and F's everything up. Can't figure out everybody else sucks. How do we energize our entire base? They want no. Listen, this is where being old helps out. This is where seeing a lot of elections helps me out here. Parties go through this all the time. The Republicans were here in 2012. This is where the Republicans were. The Republicans all expected that they were going to win. Now, I think the polls said Obama was going to win. Actually, it was kind of like this. Like the polls actually had it pretty tight, but Democrats were confident that Harris was going to win, and she lost. That's what happened to Mitt Romney. And the Republicans had their autopsy saying, all right, we need to find out how to change this. We need to increase the party and our outreach and everything. And they didn't really do that. They got with Donald Trump, but he did win. So it seems helpless and hopeless right now, and I know what you guys are going to say. It's different this time because Trump is a unique threat to democracy. I understand. But if you talk to Republicans, they would have said the same thing in 2012, that Barack Obama was the Antichrist. He was the end of the world. There are going to be no elections after this. He's going to do the martial law. In a year and a half, the campaign for the 2026 elections will happen. The Democrats will have the opportunity to stifle the sure to be coming awful leadership of Trump and the Republican House and Senate. And then we can limit the power that way. Guess there's an argument that populist politics is what Rogan is after. How does the left effectively co-opt the populist narrative? For the left to co-opt the populist narrative, honestly, you don't need to change left policies. You don't, because they're already popular. You just need to change the messaging of the left politicians, that they can't sound like college professors. Like the Democrats have done everything they can to appeal to college educated professionals, and it works. All the language is very academic. It's all very proper. It's all very formal. Now, you don't have to be beasts. You don't need to be, grunting morons out there and delving into conspiracies, but meet with people. When people tell you that the economy is bad, don't say, well, look at the chart here. The chart says the economy is good. That doesn't get you anywhere. It's really, honestly, you don't got to change much of what policy the Republicans going for, what policy they're voting for Trump for. It's all based on vibes. I'd say about 150 million voters. It's not wrong to say maybe a mere million were biggest. No, that's not. I mean, you completely misunderstand me if that was your The lesson learned is that our country isn't ready for a woman, especially a woman of color. Like I said, if that's the lesson learned, then what's your solution? What's your solution? Because it sounds like the solution is don't nominate a woman. Then just say it. Because I find it kind of cowardly to say, well, I guess the voters were just not going to vote. All right, well, what do you mean by that? So, exactly. There's only 3 qualifications for president. 14 years living in the country. True business. That's why Trump was the first non-career politician or prior service member elected. I think we focus on everything but the voters. We needed our own base. How do you feel about Gavin Newsom? Not a Gavin Newsom fan, but he's definitely a front runner for 2028. But who knows? Anything could happen in 4 years. In 2020, the centrist candidate dropped out and supported by... Oh, wait, hold on. Did I already answer that one? I would vote for you if you gave your sinecures to your comment section. Was 35 plus 40 was U.S. citizen was funny. I don't know what that means. Oh, shoot. Sorry, guys. I'm behind on the comments, and I just... I feel bad for missing them. God damn, how far back do I got to go here? Do you not agree that Trump administration and the full government takeover looks dictatorish? Very much so. I think if a black man like Obama, a woman or POC could win, they just have to be able to be charismatic as him. Yeah, Ben, I agree. I don't think the presidency's out of reach for anyone. If a black guy named Barack Hussein Obama, his name was more surprising he won than the color of his skin, honestly. Like a guy with Hussein in his name winning, wild. I think the most pressing question is how this election will affect season 5 of The Boys. Listen, season 4 of The Boys was the worst season. I like it, but it was way too on the nose. I don't know if you guys can hear Wolfie, but he's just yelling. I don't know. But yeah, season 5 of The Boys, I don't predict will be very good because of Trump winning. They're just Homelander's going to change his legal name to like Ronald Bump or something like that. Like something incredibly on the nose. Ham-fisted. I'm finding myself aligning with the left more and more. Hold on. Young and Political. Are you, hold on. Who asked that over here? Jerome? It's the same question Jerome asked. Do you still want to talk about this? So I forgot. Let's see. Are you still upset Kamala lost? Of course I'm upset. A lot vote R because the status quo where they live in. Yep. Sorry, I'm missing these comments, folks. Not gonna lie, bro. I love your vids, but Washington could beat you. How dare you? How dare you? The propaganda around George Washington's absurd. You don't think that the first president of the United States, they dressed up all those stats? Come on. Ridiculous. You guys really believe George Washington ran a 4-second 40-yard dash? No chance. No chance. You gonna trust the clocks they used back then? Come on. Let's see. Your cat is awesome. He is. He is. It was me, but didn't get the full question out of the way I wanted. An incumbent vice president has only won twice, Martin Van Buren and George Bush Sr. Didn't know that. A lot of vice presidents have won, but incumbent vice presidents have won, which that's interesting. I was just going to say the Funky Bunch beat you to it. Yeah, I know. If you could control Trump's mind for a day, what would you do? If I could control Donald Trump's mind for one day, I would come out as a gay man and a bottom because I would like to see his fans' reaction. Because I think that I'm positive that if Donald Trump came out as gay, Republicans would still support him. But if he came out as a bottom, I think he'd lose a lot of support. It's the only way. Trump is cash poor, and now people will never know. I know. He's just a weird bit. He is. As Stephen King said, he's the first lady. Oh, Elon. How long will Elon last around the administration? Yeah, Trump and Elon are not going to get along. They don't like each other. Did you see the number of comments in AOC's people that voted for her and Trump? There were a lot. So, yeah, I always thought that was funny that AOC released this, put out this post saying, hey, if you voted for me in my district but didn't vote for Kamala, let me know why. I would not take that kindly if I were Kamala. Like, imagine if the two of us, if you and me both ran for office in the same district, and a bunch of people voted for you, or a bunch of people voted for me and didn't vote for you, and I came up with, hey, well, why am I so great, and why does that other person suck? I don't think you'd like that. But hey, politics is it's a game for the big kids, but and it seems got a lot of shade. Dems are Bush era Republicans now, not voting for that. Exactly. We should wait for Republicans to split first, and they will. I don't know about Destiny. Not Destiny, not Vosh. Yeah, I knew that would happen. Let's see. Sorry, I'm missing a lot of these. Honestly, Republicans just got very lucky. Not this time. In 2016, yeah, the Republicans got lucky. This time, I don't know. Would you say most Trumpers are racist? Yeah. Let's see. Until we have an FDR administration, we're going to keep swinging it. Run Bernie Sanders. Bernie's time is past, folks. It's unfortunate. I think AOC was saying it's weird. There are Trumpers who voted for it, and not that she's cool. Yeah, I know, but the implication, you know what I'm saying? It just seems that way. Why'd you vote for me and not that other person? It seems like you're dunking on them. Dems are not left; they're mostly center right. In your opinion, are there any trad Republicans in the House that will push back on Trump? Maybe there's a few. Folks, I'm so sorry. Thank you for the rose. I'm missing a lot of these. I'm sorry. Do you think JD Vance runs 2028? Do you think, who knows now, right? That's hilarious. I just heard someone say if Pete Buttigieg John Adams and Thomas Jefferson. Oh yeah, thank you. All right, yeah. I was. You know what? I'm so mad I didn't catch that. Like the very first vice president incumbent won our election, and so did Thomas Jefferson. Yeah, I don't know why. Oh, Trump is the bottom. I don't take it that way. Matt Gaetz' attorney general is just wild. Very true. How bad do you think Trump's presidency will be? Pretty damn bad. Worse than the first one. Definitely worse than the first. Second verse worse than the first. It's a little bit louder and a whole lot worse. Oh, thank you for the super chat. The donation, Andre, the sticker. I appreciate that. Oh yeah, folks, my YouTube is finally monetized. I didn't mention that. It's monetized level 1, so if you want to donate on there, you can. I appreciate the support. I love you all. Let's see. Oh boy. He's asking for recess appointments. Their mistake was reaching across the aisle to Republicans. She should have never reached. Okay, so yeah, I think that it was a mistake for Kamala Harris to. I said this during the campaign that Liz Cheney endorsing her, I didn't think meant anything as far as helping with the election. Dick Cheney endorsing her, I can't believe she even acknowledged that. I cannot believe it. Liz Cheney is hated by the Republican Party. She's hated. There are no Republicans like her. She's incredibly unpopular. She's obviously unpopular with Democrats. Why bother running around and campaigning with her? But to even acknowledge and thank Dick Cheney for his endorsement and say that he's a great American patriot and we appreciate his service to the nation. Dick Cheney is probably the least popular politician of our lifetimes. It's just it's insanity. And I said that's not going to win you any votes. Like, point me to a person who's like, wow, that Dick Cheney endorsement, that won me over. Now, I wasn't going to vote for Harris, but now 2 months before an election, her being happy with Dick Cheney's endorsement, you don't have to dismiss it. All you have to do is say, hey, listen, Dick Cheney endorsed me. Great. I'll his vote is worth as much as anyone else's. I need all the votes I can get and leave it at that. Now, I don't think that's what cost her the election. I don't think that people stopped voting for her because of it, but it didn't help out at all. In fact, it's the same. She got the same number of Republican votes as Biden did. So spending time and energy on that was useless. Oh, sorry for missing the comments. So I keep apologizing for this. I feel really bad. She said, let me accept the the support of Satan himself. Oh, Alexander, that's why I'm bringing up guests today. I'm not. So I have to. I'm not. Well, yeah, because I'm on YouTube too, and the audio would be funny. It'd be weird. I'll have to reach out to you. We'll have to discuss this election, though, man. We'll definitely have to do that. Oh, Festus. I get it now. Oh, I remember Festus now. I remember. All right. That's just between me and you, but we'll get over that later. I remember now. Sorry. I had to skip. Exactly. She hurt herself. Oh, where am I? Where am I? I think George W. Bush is more popular than Cheney's. It made no sense. Listen, you know what's funny? George W. Remember at the end of the Harris campaign toward the beginning election, like at the end of October, all these, maybe you guys didn't see it, but I saw a lot of people saying, man, where's George W. Bush? Where's the courage in George W. Bush? He has not endorsed Kamala Harris. He said that he doesn't like Trump, but I haven't heard him say anything about Harris. And I saw all these posts with like, where is the integrity of George Bush? Then when Trump was elected, George W. Bush released a statement saying, hey, we congratulate President Trump, the smartest Republican. Not saying a lot, but the smartest Republican is George W. Bush, but not saying a word because he understood Republicans are going to, here's the wild thing, folks. Republicans, they vote for Republicans. Wild. Apparently, the Harris-Walz campaign didn't know this, but maybe we'll remember it for the future. Man, you remember when Tim Walz went on The Daily Show with Jon Stewart, and Jon Stewart asked the same question I'm asking right now. Hey, what's up with the Cheney thing? You gotta put your arms around Dick Cheney. And Tim Walz says, oh, we got a wide campaign. We got Taylor Swift. We got Dick Cheney. And Stewart says that doesn't make any sense. And it didn't. It didn't. Yeah, she kissed Rep and didn't reach out to the progressive left. Oh, Republicans. Oh, all good. Yeah. Sorry, Alexander. Or Alex. Sorry. I feel like everybody just views politicians as gods these days and take it personal if you disagree. I think she's forced to take the endorsement by her team. I don't know. No, listen, it's your campaign. It's not the Kamala Harris team campaign. The team is an elected president. People would talk about this with like when Biden lost the debate against Trump, like, oh, his debate team, his prep team let him down. No, the buck doesn't stop with your team. The buck stops with you. I don't accept that at all. If you're a manager and things fall apart, you can't go to your supervisor and say, oh, my team let me down. No, you're either in charge or you're not. You can't have it both ways. Now, the team might be bad, sure, but it's still your fault. That's first rule of leadership. Everything is your fault. Because it was a success, that you take credit for it. So when you lose, you got to take the blame. Do you believe Musk contributed to voter fraud? I don't think so. I don't know. From what I was seeing, he was paying people to sign up to register to vote, which is not the same as paying them to vote. It's not the same. However, the argument was the implication was rather strong. So it was kind of like a legal gray area. I don't know if they're going to win that case against them. I don't know if they had to drop it or what, but I don't know if I would say that is an obvious voter fraud issue. It's sketchy, but our entire voting system is sketchy in a lot of ways. We have legalized bribery as a core part of our election process. So she can tie break every vote except the one where we don't acknowledge Cheney. Oh, that's funny. That's funny. I got the reference. That's pretty funny. Millions of Americans didn't even bother. Oh, what's going on here? Just take that, not think I'm a real person. Millions of Americans didn't bother voting because it was the far right versus center right. We need the Democratic Party to be truly left, not center right. Hard agree. Except in corporate America, buck don't stop at the top. Yeah, that's true. Who was it last night on the show? What's Good English? EK, What's Good English was talking about this, that, if you go to Applebee's and the food is bad, you get your irresistible comes late. You just blame the person nearest to you. You blame the waiter. You don't know if it was the cook. You don't know if it was the manager. You don't know if it was the damn CEO whose fault, but you certainly don't blame the top. You blame the person nearest to you. High school girls' competitive sports was a bigger issue than they anticipated. I don't think so. I've seen a lot of charts and stats showing what the top issues were. I never saw one mention high school girls sports. Republicans like talking about it, but think about it. Trans issues were their big thing 2 years ago. They got their asses kicked. It was a big thing 4 years ago. Their asses kicked. There's honestly, no joke, there's like 3 dozen trans girl athletes, high school athletes in the country. In the country. You've never met one. You've never met one. You never will. There's 40 of them in 50 states. And most of them are painfully average, like anything else. It's just, and like, sports have their own rules for this stuff. It doesn't require the federal government. It just doesn't. Y'all, she was just doing the Dems a favor because no one else was available. I mean, they were available. It just wouldn't make any sense. It was just the easiest to go with Harris, honestly. I get why they did it. I don't think it was a bad decision. I don't think the primary would have really... I'm not convinced that the primary would have changed the result. I fear we're going to realize Kamala was the politician we needed, not an American politician. She was an American politician. She's like a quintessential... What do you mean? She's a quintessential politician. The missing and burned votes are extremely sketch. I don't know what missing votes. I saw the burning votes. I only saw that happen once. Kamala Harris lost resoundingly. She lost all 7 swing states. There's no voter fraud that stopped this. If she lost by a couple hundred votes here and there, maybe, but she lost Pennsylvania by like 180,000 or 180,000 votes. She needed Pennsylvania, and she wasn't going to win it. So don't do this, folks. Don't fall into the same trap that the conservatives did for the last 4 years, where they're Charlie Day doing conspiracy stuff. The election's over. It was fair and square. It was done. I noticed a huge uptick in right-wing content being pushed to me on Twitter. Well, yeah. Well, honestly, it was before that. It was probably ever since Musk bought it. Ever since Elon Musk bought Twitter, it's been nothing but right-wing content. It's been awful. So we're going to believe that Trump won every swing state? Yes, we are going to believe that. That's what happened. He won every swing state. Will Andy Bashir be the expert? Who knows? Dude, that's like the only ad they ran in Texas was girls sport. Oh, all right. I don't think that's what won them Texas. I'm going to go out on a limb here, Jalen, and just say that the absence of those ads would not have turned Texas blue. Just going to throw that out there. Republicans have run anti-trans ads for like 10 years now. That's not anything new. You look familiar. Who are you? Like the strange man from Red Dead Redemption? What do you mean look familiar? Occam's razor, my friend. 7 billionaires worked hard to elect a dude who was going to protect them. That's true. Yep, the billionaires really love Trump. And yeah, it's more than that, though, because Harris raised more money than Trump. Although the billionaires have more influence outside of directing money, I understand that. But also the Republicans, look, the Republicans ran a more modern campaign. The Democrats ran a traditional campaign. The Republicans ran a more modern one. There you go. Got the applause from Heather. Appreciate that. Let's see. I am eating pizza, right? The profits for all go to helping kids, too. I don't get that one, Ben. Maybe one, too. Only the most corrupt ones, these crazy appointments, they are. Modern in what sense? In that Donald Trump didn't spend his money on door knocking. When Harris spent hundreds of thousands of dollars on door knocking. Donald Trump didn't spend a lot of his money on commercials and legacy media. Donald Trump didn't spend a lot of his money or a lot of his time doing, he did do legacy media appointments, but he also did tons of, just podcasts, like Aiden Ross business and stuff like that. Just appealing to people on a more base level and a more relatable level. I think that's something that the Democrats could learn from a lot. That's what I mean. More cowbell and Red Dead. Were you Army or Air Force? I was in the Army. Man, if you want Red Dead Redemption references, I'm your guy. All right. I caught up with the comments and now they've stopped. So I've got like a bunch of here that I didn't get to. I assume someone said so cute for Wolfie. Wolfie's gone now. Oh no, he's not. He's right here actually. She should have done flagrant. Definitely Joe Rogan. Yeah, once again, I said this too. If you saw John and I's show, we said that. Now, once again, I don't think that would have won her the election. I think she would have lost either way. But going on Joe Rogan, not going on Joe Rogan, I think it was a mistake. One, it is millions of dollars of free advertisement. Millions of dollars of free. And Joe Rogan is not a hostile interview. He's not going to be grilling, raking you over the coals. He doesn't know anything. But also, if you can't handle Joe Rogan, why are you going to be president? So I think that reaching out to as many people as possible is a good idea when you're running for president. And not going on Joe Rogan, I think, was a mistake, which you could have. I don't think it would have made a difference, but it would have been a good idea. Hey, buddy. All social media is primarily a funnel to right-wing propaganda. Yeah, we got to do something about that. A lot of content that isn't even necessarily political does funnel you to the right wing, especially male-driven content. You start looking up stuff about history or working out or self-improvement. A lot of it's right wing, and those spaces, we need to propagate those a little bit more, I think. How do we defeat the O'Driscolls? God damn O'Driscolls. Well, my plan to defeat Colm O'Driscoll, by the way, I can't remember the name of the guy who plays Arthur Morgan in Red Dead 2, but he's an Irish guy. And he was saying that when he saw the script, he kept saying Colm O'Driscoll because apparently that's an Irish name, pronounced Colm. Like, no, man, it's Colm. No, say Colm. But I want to take an old-fashioned approach to defeating the evil O'Driscolls. I want to go to the side of a mountain and I'll paint a fake tunnel and then lure them there with bird seed. I think that's a great way to be. Red Scare. Of course you would like Red Dead Redemption. Look up video games. You'll get right-wing stuff. Yeah, I imagine. Yeah, it's because you know why? It's because it doesn't take any critical thought to be a right-winger. And honestly, if you just grow up in the United States of America as a regular citizen, you're going to be a right-winger. Why wouldn't you? You're taught in history school that the founding fathers are not necessarily gods, but something more than men. America is the greatest nation to ever exist. It's pretty much blessed by God for manifest destiny. That's just regular school stuff. It's hard to come out of a standard American education and not be a right winger. So when regular folks just get into stuff, they lean right. Let's see. That guy defended me like that once. The new CODSR. Oh, I haven't played Call of Duty. That guy defeated me like that once. Oh, it's funny. Stop. I'm going to become my generation's Mr. Rogers. Beautiful day in the neighborhood. Let's see. Trump's campaign is fueled by corruption. There is no legal recourse for that. Do you think that if Tulsi tried to run, she would have beaten Trump? Well, why would she run against Trump? She hasn't been associated with the left in years. Understanding manifest destiny to be the correct course of history doesn't make you a right winger. Yeah, it does. Yeah, it does. What do you mean the correct course of history? Like, that's an absurd comment. Let's see. If you don't have a family to push left wing and revolutionary values on you, you'll probably be fairly. Yeah, it's true. It's true. Look, that's the standard teaching in the education system. Capitalism is the greatest economic system ever invented. It may not be perfect, but it's the best we have. And in fact, there is no alternative. We're going to have capitalism from now to the end of time. That's just standard teaching in the United States. So yeah, it's pretty hard to be on the left. The right characterizes critical thought as something that weakens you, like adding creamer to your coffee. Yeah, the right relies a lot on common sense. They love saying that. This is just common sense. And it's kind of like why the there are two genders thing is so powerful. Because on the surface, it's ostensibly true, right? As far as your regular life goes, we operate as if there are two genders. Now, and they say, well, it's just basic science. Like, yeah, you're right. It is basic science. It's not even intermediate science. Like once you study things a little longer, oh, okay, there's biological sex, which is not, which is the dimorphic, but it's bimodal. It's not necessarily there are only two sexes. There's a lot in between there. And the same thing goes with gender. It's just it takes a little bit more thought and more thinking, but that's scary to right wingers. They don't like doing that. It's because it causes you to do some work. And it's a lot of anti-communist and socialist propaganda in school. Very true. Very true. Even the stuff from slavery, like they teach that, oh, well, it would have died out. It wasn't that bad. I don't know what they're complaining about so much. It certainly doesn't affect us today. The United States government isn't going to create books criticizing the United States government for history. It's just not going to happen. Understanding something doesn't make you escape from it. Okay. Dude, if you don't understand right wingers, it's not a reason to insult them. No, I do that because I was a right winger for a long time. I know exactly how they think. In fact, I say this a lot of times that I'm no longer a conservative, but I still think like one. I still have actually very black and white thinking, very base level stuff I have to work through. So I know conservatives better than they know themselves. Trust me. Yeah, you have to do more exploring on the left. Yeah, it's true. You do. Yeah, the left. It takes a lot more work to be a left winger. That's why conservatives are always dunking on college. Oh, they're indoctrination. No, that's just where you learn. It's where you learn. They think there's some sort of conspiracy that that college professors are all meeting in smoke-filled back rooms. Like, oh, how can we screw over the conservatives? Like, no, it's just that conservative ideas don't stand up to academic scrutiny. That's it. That's it. And this is true even amongst conservatives. So the more education you have, the less likely you are to be conservative. But that's not just for left wingers and right wingers or conservatives versus liberal. It's even oh man. I just got banned from TikTok again. Like, what did I even say this time? Folks. All right. Okay. Appreciate you guys joining me. I'll have to catch you next time. TikTok is horrible with their lives, man. It's awful. Later, folks.